This video is going to be a look at some Jalen Hurts film, primarily from the midseason point of 2022. We're going to look at an 8-game stretch where I really think encapsulates the heights that the Eagles can reach offensively, how dangerous they are because of how many guys touch the football, how Jalen Hurts, to use a basketball comparison, is really a point guard who can score in crunch time, or maybe in this day and age of basketball, maybe he's a shooting guard, a 6'6" shooting guard who can facilitate and make other players better by distributing the ball. This is going to be a kind of a commentary video. We'll show some film from week 6 to week 14. Look, I've been a fan of Jalen Hurts for 2 years in the NFL because of how he handled himself with the Eagles last year in 2021. Of course, he went 8-7 as a starting quarterback, and they made the playoffs. Of course, and they did not play well, particularly early against the Bucs in that wild card playoff game in Week 19 last year. Kind of got things moving a little bit more as the game went on. I think that to preview or project the Eagles 49ers game, look at the first 3 possessions. They seem to be a team that within their first 3 drives usually scores twice. They being the Eagles. They get after you fast. I think they do a great job attacking specific players, specific coverages, and I'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. The only game that I really watched during this stretch, this 8-game stretch, where that didn't happen or where you saw the other side of that coin was the Colts game. I think the Eagles won 17-16, and the Colts really defensively took it to them early. The Eagles did not get rolling in the same manner early at all. Usually, but after the first 3 possessions, they either usually have 10 points or 14. That's, to me, what I think I see. Credit Jalen Hurts, man. Guys done everything they've asked him to do. Made plays for himself, zone read, various scrambles, whatever. Throwing the ball to multiple guys. Doesn't seem to care who catches the football. I know A.J. Brown has had an unbelievable year. He's been a big addition for sure, but you've got to give Jalen Hurts credit for creating a true spread offense. And when I say that, I don't mean just as an offense that spreads you horizontally and makes you defend sideline to sideline, and then also can attack you vertically. That's the piece that A.J. Brown has really added. I think that Jalen Hurts deserves credit for sharing the ball among multiple guys. All right, let's get to some of the commentary that I'm going to talk about in terms of this 8-game stretch. I'm going to show you when I think the Eagles were really flying offensively. They went 7-1 from week 6, I think, to week 14. And during that time, Jalen Hurts had 18 touchdowns and 1 interception as a passer. Also had 4 rushing touchdowns. And they get after people early. I think you're going to be able to tell quickly in this Eagles 49ers game whether the complementary players, the designed plays that the Eagles are going to use, whether those plays, quote, work, and the Eagles get 10 points through the first 3 drives. A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts going to make plays. Devonta Smith's going to make plays. Maybe not as many as A.J. Brown, but that depends on the matchup that he gets, depends on the coverages. I think, to be honest with you, Jalen Hurts could be a superstar after this NFC title game, because I think that some of the advantages the Eagles have will be a little bit mitigated by the 49ers talent level. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Look, they're a spread offense. They spread you to run. I think that's the mentality of their coaches, to spread you to run, but they certainly utilize the pass well. They share the ball among multiple guys. There's multiple players on this Eagles offense who can score from 20, 25, 30 yards out. Clearly, A.J. Brown being the biggest part of that. I love what they do. It's not just the players and how Jalen Hurts executed. It's multiple concepts. And all of those concepts are not based on play action. Now, that one is there. Clearly, it's a pistol option look, play action. You'll get the end zone angle here for it, just so you know. And there's a little bit of a blown coverage here on this left side. But they use so many different concepts. RPOs, read option. They attack to the boundary often, like you just saw there. And they utilize complementary players in that space to the boundary, tight ends, running backs. It's actually, though, a little bit more in-depth for me. I mean, clearly, this is an unbelievable play by A.J. Brown. He's brought in a great element to that offense, and so credit the Eagles for having the draft capital and the foresight to go get a guy like that. If you wanted to say he transformed their team, go right ahead. But if you watched last year, you could see the trajectory that Jalen Hurts was on. He could see that he's a winner, brought the same mentality, the same high character to this organization that he had at Alabama, that he had, for the one season at Oklahoma. If you didn't, pay attention, he handled himself like a true professional and just a mature athlete when he lost his starting job at Alabama. And I think his junior year, I believe he came in during the SEC title game or maybe the Final Four game. I'm not sure, and won the game, or at least helped the team win the game. It's kind of an unbelievable story. And then gave up his starting quarterback job, I think, the very next game. Maybe my recollection there isn't great, but my point is high character guy, leadership, and they really attack the Eagles offense really attacks people expertly. I think that what they do is they plan for certain looks from the defense, and then they back map. Okay, when will we get that look? When are we most likely to get that look, that coverage, that front? And so then from that back mapping, at a certain point, at a time of their choosing, the Eagles go ahead and create that formation, or they create that look to give the defense. And then Hurts has just got to check and say, okay, am I getting the coverage that I think I'm getting? Yes. And then from there, they attack specifically. In this game against the Texans, Texans played a lot of Tampa 2, cover 2 type stuff, and he being Jalen Hurts, attacked expertly over the top of the corners and then outside of the safeties multiple times. One of my favorite young players in the NFL, Jalen Petre, a safety. It's not like they were targeting him necessarily, but they were targeting the coverage. Jalen Petre, in this case, just happened to be the safety to the defense's left, the offense's right. I think you'll be able to tell quickly in this matchup whether the Eagles are going to be able to put up a lot of points or not. When I say a lot of points, I'm not expecting them to score 35, 38 points against this 49ers defense, who is missing pieces, mind you. I am, however, expecting the Eagles to come out and kind of play it like chess, not checkers, whereby they give a certain look early and maybe they attack the 49ers' tendency to play a particular coverage, or they attack a certain player. But I expect them to go a little bit step further. I expect them to kind of plant landmines for the 49ers and maybe give them a certain look, run their second or third best play out of that look the first couple of times, to then later on in the game, maybe second quarter, third quarter, maybe when they need a touchdown, go back to that formation and then run their best play out of it. I think that the Eagles are going to have to score in the first 3 possessions to at least kind of like a boxer. This is a weird comparison. I don't think I'm good at boxing comparisons, but I think maybe I'm good at the basketball ones because I throw so many of them out there. I think that this game is like a boxer, the Eagles, who has to prove to the other fighter, the Niners, that he can hurt him. I think the Eagles have their advantage, one of their biggest ones, is their offensive line. They're great. Going against this 49ers D-line, I think this is a huge matchup along the offensive line. I think it's possible that normally the Eagles have a huge or tremendous advantage on the offensive line. And that advantage, that differential between how great their O-line is versus another team's D-line and linebackers, it's going to be a closer differential in this NFC Championship game. I'm not sure that any one area the Eagles are just going to have a huge differential, huge advantage in. Will the Eagles' offensive line win plenty of reps? Absolutely. But I think the 2 guys that it comes down to, and maybe 3, is Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown. Brown's going to have to win his matchup. Devonta Smith as well, depending on what matchup he gets. I think the Eagles will have to utilize complementary plays like you just saw, screens, maybe double screens. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a fake reverse here in this game and some type of pass off of that fake reverse. I'm not sure why, what in the film is leading me to that. I think it's very possible that Jalen Hurts will be put on a display here in this game. And what I mean by that is some of the advantages they usually have in other personnel situations, other matchups, I think they're not going to have as big of an advantage across the board here unless their coaching staff just does a fantastic job of finding space for certain players, like you see there, Devonta Smith up top to the boundary again. It's going to be a chess match. It's going to be a physical chess match. And again, I think the Eagles' offense has to show the 49. They have to make them respect them and not just get walked down like some boxers with no power do. This is one of the few games where they started slow, I guess. But Jalen Hurts make plays. His ability to scramble will be a big part of this game because there'll be situations where on third down, like you just saw, guys are covered and there's nowhere to go with the ball. And if Jalen Hurts can scramble out of there, pick up the first down on that 3rd and 6, it just keeps the drive going. I've had fun watching the Eagles offense this year. I'm going to be honest with you. I had fun watching it last year. For real. They didn't have A.J. Brown, and they didn't reach the heights in 2021 that they reached here in 2022, clearly. Jalen Hurts' stats are obviously way better in 2022. I think 3,700 passing yards last year. He had 3,100. 22 touchdowns versus 16. I don't know what your perspective is on 22 touchdowns in a 17-game regular season, even though, he was hurt near the end of the year, missed at least 2 games, maybe 3, and then played in the regular season finale. I think he wasn't 100% and probably still is not, to be real. I don't know what your perspective is, but I think his 22 touchdowns this year are more about he's been put on the stage before to have to be the playmaker. I think he's going to have to, in this NFC title game, make 4 or 5 or maybe 6 plays to keep drives going, pick up a first down, maybe make an unbelievable throw, maybe make someone miss on a zone read or something like that. A.J. Brown's the most talented guy on their offense, position player-wise. Obviously, Kelsey's a Hall of Famer. Jalen Hurts, I think, might need to be their best player for them to advance to the Super Bowl. I'm kind of rooting for the Eagles, if you can't tell by my tone, and I really respect what the 49ers do. I love their defense. I think their coaches are incredible, the way they adjust every year, no matter who the quarterback is. Going out and getting Christian McCaffrey, has really revolutionized their offense, kind of made it 49ers offense 2.0 or 3.0, or Kyle Shanahan offense 2.0, 3.0. As much as I'm a Danian, the guys in my Discord, we're always talking or projecting games, who we think will win, where the bad matchups are. We got like 72 people on our Discord at this point. This one's had a wide array of opinions. Some people think that it's going to be a shootout, and because a lot of big football games are shootouts, particularly like college football, you get a lot of points scored. I'm not sure that that's going to happen this time. I think the Eagles' run defense and their run offense is going to be a huge factor. If those two if they can stop the run, and I don't think they've been a great run-stopping team this year. You guys can let me know in the comment section if I'm way off here, but I believe the Eagles have given up over 2,000 rushing yards this season. I could be wrong there. I think it's 4.6 per carry that their defense has allowed. If they can slow down the 49ers' running attack, and then simultaneously, if their O-line can win, enough matchups against the front 6 or front 7, depending on the personnel group for the 49ers, then that'll make things easier on Jalen Hurts. There's a part of me that hopes that Jalen Hurts has to make those 5 or 6 special plays in this game and he becomes a superstar. I got tired last year of hearing all the negativity about Jalen Hurts, and it happened this year too. It happened in Detroit with Jared Goff, who's in a different place in terms of his career, having already been to a Super Bowl. He's a bridge quarterback. He's a bridge quarterback. And then the Lions just take off this year after falling to 1-6. Really, we're one of the hottest teams in the NFL at the end of the year. Somewhat similar dynamic to Jalen Hurts. There was talk even after last year when they made the playoffs that the Eagles, were going to draft a quarterback. We're going to trade him. I mean, like all of these things. Like, did you not watch the film of him in 2021? There were plays like this. There weren't as many plays like this, but I think that was because the talent level around him, particularly at receiver, wasn't as good. You guys let me know what you think of my thoughts. Let me know what your prediction is for the game. If the Eagles' run defense and then their O-line blocking their run game on offense, if those two situations stay statistically with what they are, meaning they can't stop the 49ers run, and the 49ers front 6, front 7 on defense slows down the Eagles' spread to run game, then Jalen Hurts is going to have to make plays, and he have an opportunity to be a superstar. Kind of like what I want to see for real. I'm rooting for him to be given the acknowledgement and the credit that I think he deserves. Moving forward, if the Eagles are projecting, if they are able to get a win against this 49ers team, I think they're a bad matchup for the Chiefs. I really do. With their ability to rush the passer and then how difficult they are to stop on offense, I think they can really put it on the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Them against the Bengals is a different story. The Bengals are so multiple, they're so smart on defense, changing coverages, giving you different looks offensively, being unpredictable, essentially. I think them against the 49ers, in my opinion, is a better, closer matchup in terms of the differential between the two teams. You guys let me know what you think of those thoughts. Clearly, I'm not assuming that the Eagles are winning. I'm just projecting if they do win, I think you have the potential for an all-time great Super Bowl between them and the Cincinnati Bengals, and I think they handle the Kansas City Chiefs quite well. You guys let me know what you think of those thoughts, what you think of Jalen Hurts' season. Some of the play evaluation that I did here, this was mostly a commentary video. Appreciate you guys checking out the video. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, please consider subscribing now. If you've listened this long, hopefully you appreciate the video. Or if you don't, let me know in the comment section which of my thoughts are wrongheaded or inaccurate. Or let me know in the comments section a specific type of video you'd like to see talking about the Eagles 49ers NFC Championship game. Appreciate you guys' time.